What is up, everybody? ¿Qué está pasando? Raúl Campos. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
Hola, Pili. ¿Cómo la pasaste?
Muy bien, very chill. Spent it with friends, and then I worked on the 31st, and actually, so did you.
Yeah, we rung in 2020. So Happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully you had a fantastic one as well. Happy holidays. Not just Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad. Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Boxing Day.
Yep, all of it, all of it. Thank you so much for being with us and, just listening to good music with us. Oye, hablando de listening to good music, Raúl, I know obviously you're an avid music listener.
A little bit.
But do you also watch videos?
I do quite a bit because a lot of the music now that comes to us as promotional or anybody saying, hey, check out my new song, it usually comes tagged with the music video.
Right.
So I get to see the music video, hear the song. It's a win-win.
Well, I'm the same as you. I mean, I listen to a lot of music on obviously podcast. So I guess that we're both part of the staggering statistic of Hispanic adults who spend 69% of their entertainment time consuming audio and video content.
And that is compared to the average U.S. adult who only spends 54% of their entertainment time consuming audio and video.
That is a 15% difference. That's a big difference, man.
And that's because we're Latinos.
And we rock.
Absolutely.
So gracias a nuestros amigos over at Nielsen for that really cool study. And you can find out more on nielsen.com/Latinos.
And now, Pili, it is time for our next episode of Pili, Raul, and La Musica. And we're both very excited because we're huge fans of this artist coming out of Guatemala. She's Grammy nominated, Latin Grammy winner. What else can we say about this superstar?
She's such a humble human being and so talented. Her songwriting, her voice. Wow. And the best thing about this too is that we got to do this in front of a live audience because this is part of our monthly live events at Jack Daniels Room No7, where we get to sit down and interview some of our favorite artists in front of our friends, our colleagues, our guests.
And uber fans of the artist. And not to mention the drinks because it is Jack Daniels. So they are really cool in doing this menu that's wrapped around the artist. So they take some of her songs and basically create a drink menu around the titles.
And every time people go to one of our Room No7 events, they walk out of there just absolutely loving Jack Daniels and their drinks because they're so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's such a magical night. So if you are in the LA area, hit us up on Instagram, Pili, Raúl en La Musica, and you might score some tickets to go see us.
Like this artist that we got coming up, it is the one and only Gaby Moreno right here at Pili, Raúl en La Musica. We've been big fans of hers for many, many, many years, and she was high on the list when we wanted to start doing these at Room No7. She is Grammy nominated, Latin Grammy winner, and she's coming out of Guatemala. So she is a superstar, and we've been big fans for a long time.
Any Parks and Recreations fans here? Okay, so our next guest, she wrote the theme song for Parks and Recreations. Any Disney fans here? Okay. She's Eleanor of Elena de Avalor. Gracias, Melissa. So she also did the theme song for that show. She's played with Jackson Browne. She's toured with DiFranco. She's Ricardo Arjona was like, you are a goddess, and I will support your career forever and ever.
So why don't we welcome her to the stage? Gran aplausos para Gaby Moreno.
Hola, Gaby.
Hola.
How are you, mama?
Hola, Gaby Moreno.
Hey.
¿Cómo estás?
Great. Muy
Thanks
bien.
for joining us.
Feliz y contenta.
So as I mentioned, Grammy nominated, Latin Grammy winner, and the mix of soul, jazz, blues, R&B. I mean, and even I love the description. Spanglish folk soul. Who came up with that?
I did, just for, because I really, they asked me so many times, so what kind of music do you do? And I was like, oh my God, it's just so hard for me to describe. I'm the worst. And so one day it just came to me. I was like, well, I do love, the music that comes from blues and jazz, soulful music, soul music, and, old country, Americana, folk music. not just from here from the States, but folk music from Latin America as well. So, and I always sing in English and Spanish, so Spanglish, folk, soul.
It couldn't have been more perfect. When I first read that, I'm all like, that is spot on.
Yeah, cool. You nailed it for sure. So, Gaby, take us back to that first memory of you as a child in Guatemala and recalling when music came into your life.
Okay, so my mother tells me that I was about 5 years old when she came home, and I was listening to one of her cassettes that she had of zarzuela music, which is basically classical music. And I was imitating one of the opera singers. And she's not, I don't come from a musical family, so she's not a singer. She just thought, oh, she kind of hit that note well, and I don't know about music, but I'm going to take her to someone who knows about music. And she had a friend who was a voice teacher. And that's sort of where it all began. I actually started singing classical music when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I was singing like El Aleluya de Mozart and all these opera songs.
Did you like it from the get-go? Because as
did.
a child and your parents are like, you're going to this class, and you're like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But you loved it?
I did. I was like, wow, it was all new to me. It was the first time that I was singing. At the same time, I love Disney movies and I love musicals, so I was also singing all of that.
So I want to know a little bit about this story. The first time you went to New York, I think you were 13.
Yeah.
What happened on that trip to New York?
So what happened was my family took me there just on vacation. I think it was my sister's 15th birthday, so it was like instead of giving her a quinceañera party, they're like, okay, we're going to take you guys to New York. And they knew that I was a big fan of Broadway musicals, so I went to see that, and I think we went to see, I don't know, Les Miserables or something. And then afterwards we were just walking on Times Square, and I started hearing this woman that was just singing on the street, and I was like, what is this? And I was just kind of paralyzed, and I stayed there and I listened to her for a good 20 minutes because I was just so taken by how she was singing. Like, I hadn't heard anything like it. So I went up to her afterwards and I was like, what's the kind of music that you sang? And she was like, oh, that's the blues, honey. I was like, oh man, the blues. Like, whoa, what is that? And I remember I asked my mom to take me to a record store, and thankfully they had the blues aisle. So I just bought a bunch of compilation, blues CDs. And when I got home, I just locked myself in the room and was just singing all of that.
You seem like a very shy person. Yes. However, when you're on stage, that kind of like fades away. But is there something about your personality that really resonates with blues?
Something about I do consider myself very, very passionate. And I think that comes through when I perform, when I sing. And just from listening to all of those artists and all of that music, it has kind of gotten into me, and I'm able to really get into the song and really feel what the song is about. And if it's a sad song, if it's a depressing song or whatever, and that's why I've written a lot of songs that are kind of on the darker side, even though I've had a very happy life. Like nothing crazy bad has happened. But I just consider myself a good performer, and I can really, feel those kinds of feelings that other people might be going through. You know what I mean?
Pili mentioned the word shyness. How do you overcome that?
The shyness?
Yeah.
Or even has music helped you overcome that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that I noticed the first time that I got on stage was when I was 9 years old in Guatemala, and I was just so nervous before it. I mean, I was like, it was the worst. I almost didn't sing, and then had to do it. And then the minute I got on stage and I grabbed the microphone and started singing, I was like, whoa, like, what is this? This is like, this feels good. This is like, I feel comfortable here. Like, I can just do whatever, be myself. And it's been that way forever. So I am very shy off stage, but then once I get on stage, you give me a guitar and I start singing a song, and I just kind of get lost in the music. Yeah.
So who here likes their voice? Like, when you hear your voice, who's like, ooh, my voice is great. Tania, really? Anybody else? I love the confidence. Anybody else likes her voice? Okay, Melissa, I'm full of like all my Latina friends are very confident. They all love their voice. I don't like my voice.
I don't like my voice either, and I've been on the radio hearing myself for years, and it's still always, I just don't like to hear myself.
I kind of like cringe when I hear. I'm like, ooh, that's what people hear when they hear me. Obviously, I love your voice, but did you always like your voice? Have you ever doubted your voice?
Oh man, there's definitely songs that I hear that I recorded even 10 years ago. I go like, oh, I was singing like that. Yeah, I don't know. Not always.
What song was that?
It's
okay. No
like,
one else.
On my first album, like all over my first album, I sing so different now from 10 years ago. That was only 10 years ago.
Do you listen to your first album?
No. I never listen to my music. I hate listening to my songs. And even if we're in a room and someone starts putting my music, I'm like, turn it off. Like I can't deal with it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. It's a weird thing that I have.
Well, that actually reminds me, because one time I was taken to Guatemala, and a friend, we went to this restaurant and they were playing your music over the speakers. And immediately, because that was my first time there, and everybody's, oh, well, who's this gabacho that's here, hanging out with us? He doesn't know anything about Latin music. And I go, oh, that's Gaby Moreno. And they like stop. They go like, how do you know? I go, oh, well, she lives in LA. She's a good friend. And I can just see their heads exploding as soon as I saw that, because you're like royalty over there and everybody loves you. And how has the connection been back with Guatemala?
It's weird. It's very weird to me, because it's where I grew up, where I was born and raised, where I went to school. I graduated high school there. And it's just strange to, now go back and like have people stare at you. And I always find it a little strange, because it wasn't always that way.
Right.
It started happening more after I did the duet with Ricardo Arjona. But before that, I could still go home, and it was still, some people knew of me and my music, but it wasn't like it is now. So it's not something that makes me very, comfortable. Yeah. I don't like the attention. I don't.
Guatemala has just such a vibrant culture and so rich. But you don't see that many artists gaining the international acclaim. So you and a couple others. So
it's hard, man. It's really hard. I got really lucky. I mean, it's really about that, I feel, because there's so many talented artists in Guatemala. I mean, I do a festival there every year, and I always try to, well, I invite international artists to come and play, like, a small set, acoustic set. But then I always invite Guatemalan artists to be a part of it. And I've been doing it now for 5 years, and every year's been a different artist, and it's just like, every year I'm just amazed at the amount of talent, and a lot of people just don't have the opportunity to leave the country. I got incredibly lucky when I was 18 years old. I was actually signed by Warner Brothers here in the US, and that's the reason why I moved here to LA, because I was signed. But even when they signed me, they said, all right, we'll sign you, but you got to figure out how to come here legally. Like, we can't sponsor you.
But how did they discover you? How did they know that there's this amazing voice in Guatemala? Let's bring her over here. How does that happen?
So here's the connection factor, which is very important as well. My mother has been in the entertainment business in Guatemala. She's a radio personality, and she was in TV as well. So your colleague. And she knows a lot of people. So she knew this guy who's a producer, Guatemalan, but who was living in Miami, had been living there for a long time. His name is Rodolfo Castillo. And she knew him for a very, very long time. So she sent him a demo of me singing. And he said, oh, I want to meet her. So we flew to Miami. I met him. And then he introduced me to this guy who became my first manager. And he said to me, I want to take you to LA and have you audition for different labels. And I was like, okay. I had just graduated high school. I mean, I was like, what? I didn't have any songs of mine. I mean, all I knew is that I wanted to sing and I wanted to record. And so I came here to LA and I auditioned for Warner Brothers, but US. And they're like, we want to sign you. We want you to do like a the crossover Latin thing that was happening back in this was in the year 2000. And
Was this back like Shakira times during the crossover?
J-Lo time. So they wanted me to do something like that, but more geared towards like R&B.
And you don't really sound like J-Lo. Little different.
Well, so and that was always the thing. A lot of people didn't really know. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? It was just barely starting. You know, but I got really lucky. That's what I wanted to say. And then they signed me, and back in those days, like, man, they were giving you like crazy amounts of money. And I'm like, what? Okay. So with that money, I was able to pay for school and get a student visa. Okay. And so I came as a student. And I went to Musicians Institute I was there for like 2 years. By the way, this deal with Warner Brothers just crumbled. Like, the new president came in, the president that was there left, and then they dropped me. But I was still able to keep the money, and I stayed in school. So,
nice.
So that helped.
Well, we're glad you did.
Yeah. You know.
And that made it kind of like very DIY for you, right? For a while.
Very. And I lived through that whole transition of being an artist that had to be signed to a label to get a record out. I mean, I can sit here for hours and tell you the whole story, but in a nutshell, after Warner Brothers, I was signed to Epic. Tommy Mottola signed me to Epic Sony. That was where Shakira was, and Celine Dion and Macy Gray and all these female artists, and they wanted me to do something like that. But again, being a Latina, they wanted me to do the crossover thing. It was crazy. But that thing also didn't work out. I was there for a year, then they dropped me. And then I was signed by a third label, Jive Records, which had Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. Good family.
Why did I want, I'm like, why do you guys want me there? Oh, because we want you to bring like a more Latin alternative. I was like, okay. That was a development deal. So I was there for a whole year writing songs. And then at the end of the year, I go to them, I show them my songs, and they're like, yeah, we really wouldn't know how to market you. I'm like, you just made me waste like a whole year of my life. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So that was still during that time where, artists really had to go through a label. And then when that the third label didn't work out for me, a manager that I had then said to me, you know what, you're going to have to put out a record on your own. And that was, I remember he said those words, and I just thought that's like the scariest thing someone has ever said to me. And I really thought I need to quit now and just go home and, do something else. But my family was like, no, you stay there and keep going. And then MySpace came to the picture. And I know, I've been around for a long time. And so it was very, very scary times, but for the first time in my life, I felt really free. I was like, I can do whatever music I want to do. I don't have anybody, behind me telling me like how I have to sound and how I have to dress and the look and this and that. Like, I'm just going to be authentic and be myself. And I did my first record at a house with friends. And that record, Still the Unknown, that came out now 10 years ago.
This is the one that you don't listen to.
Yeah, well, I don't listen to anything, but yeah, that was that first record. And shortly after it came out, a friend of mine showed it to Tracy Chapman, and she invited me to open her whole tour. And that was the first time I ever went on tour. It was just, and then things started happening after that. So
the first time she goes on tour with Tracy Chapman.
Not bad.
Not bad at all, I would say.
It's crazy.
I'm curious to know though, like, how do you survive so much like trials and tribulations? Like, I mean, just in a minute there, you're like, I got signed, I got dropped. I got signed, I got dropped. I got signed, I got dropped. How do you survive that, especially at such a young age and being an immigrant?
Well, the whole issue of being an immigrant, it was never really an issue. I was always here legally. Like after getting the student visa, I got an artist visa. So I was never worried about that. Also, another thing I should tell you guys is that whole time when I was going through all those labels and all that, I was singing exclusively in English. Nothing in Spanish. Nothing. And it was basically because I loved American genres like blues music and jazz and soul and R&B, and I just didn't think it sounded authentic in Spanish, singing those kinds of genres in Spanish. And it wasn't until 2007, 2008 that someone said to me, "Hey, you're Guatemalan. Like, you need to start. You need to do something in Spanish." And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna." They're like, "Just do one song in Spanish." And I was playing a show here in LA at Largo, and I the most of the people that were coming to see the show, they were like white American people, and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna bring an old Latin American song that none of these people are gonna know, and it's gonna be a special thing." So I sang Amapola, which is a song that my grandma taught me when I was 5 years old, and growing up, I just thought it was kind of boring, I didn't really appreciate it, none of that music I appreciated it anymore. But then I sang that song, and then something clicked, something changed. I remember that people came up to me and said, like, "Oh my God, like, what is that song? You need to, like, keep singing more of that." And slowly I started writing in Spanish, and now I could never go back. Like,
awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, you've brought Spanish to the blues, which is crazy because your voice is so unique, the way we were talking about it a little while ago, and incorporating all that blues genre, you can hear it, and it's your own unique twist on it, and it's awesome.
Thank you. Well, I had to really work on it. It wasn't, it didn't just come to me like that. It was.
Do you still feel more comfortable singing in English?
No. Now I feel comfortable singing in both, in Spanish and English. Exactly the same. Yeah.
So in 2011, you team up with Ricardo Arjona, whom every Latino in this room knows who Ricardo Arjona is. He's a huge artist. And you guys sing Fuiste Tú. And for me, like, that's the song that kind of like put you in the map. What does that song represent to you?
Well, it's like a before and after for me in the Latin American market. Because before that, I had put out already 2 records, and I was touring in the US and in Europe, a lot in Europe. But for some reason, I hadn't been able to break into the Latin market. And then that
crazy
song,
to me, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It was really weird, but just didn't happen. And then that song, I when he invited me to sing that song, I really did not know the magnitude. I didn't even think it was going to be a single. Like, I thought, oh, he's just going to be an album filler, Little did I know. I mean, it's like his biggest hit. And of course, I feel like incredibly privileged and thankful for the opportunity. It really opened doors for me in Latin America. And that was a really amazing thing.
And you were here in LA already at that time, and you quickly became kind of like with the cool kids of LA as far as like making music and being an artist, not just music in Spanish, but just generally speaking. It's kind of one of these, a lot of people think that it's tough to kind of make it in LA, but you kind of like adapted relatively easily.
Well, there's been a lot of ups and downs. I mean, I was just telling someone yesterday that I have played virtually every club here in LA. Like, I've played the Mint, I've played the Viper Room, I've played the Whiskey A Go-Go, I've played the Roxy, the
Oh my
Mint.
God, girl, those are all dumps.
The Derby. Does anybody remember the Derby?
Yeah.
Tangier. I played all of those. Hotel Cafe. All of them.
No,
I've done all of them.
But you had never played at Room No. 7.
No, first time. Woohoo!
First time for everything. All right.
Yes. Yeah. It's been quite a journey.
So then 2012, you get nominated for a Latin Grammy. The irony of it all is that in 2013, she wins the Latin Grammy for Best New Artist when she had already been nominated in 2012.
Well, no, I was nominated in 2013 and won it in 2000. So it was just like a one. It was the first time. Yeah, but you're right. It was weird. I was like, Best New Artist. Okay.
You've only been doing it for a few years.
I've been doing it for like 10 years, but cool. Yay.
Did that change anything for you? Because I feel like a lot of
God.
people, when they win their Oscars or their Grammys or their Emmys, are like, oh my God, you're set for life.
Ha, no.
Exactly. Thank you.
No way. I mean, it's been a really wonderful thing to have in your resume, and Yeah, but no, it doesn't. God, you got to keep working so hard after that. If anything, there's like even more pressure. Because then people are like, okay, so when is the next one coming? You're like,
Right.
oh no, and that thing has been really hard for me because I never want to do music or be in this just to like think if you're gonna get nominated. I just want to make good art. That's it. And so happy, so thankful that I've all 6 albums that I've put out. I've had total creative control, have been able to do whatever I want. I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah.
As
Well, we love that, and I really enjoy that you still value other things besides music, like your fond appreciation for like everything Disney. Like we were just talking that you were out in Orlando for like a few days, and you went to every park out there.
yeah.
We were actually scared. We were like, she might not come.
Is she gonna make it?
She might ditch us because she's in Orlando at Disney, and that's like her heaven. She might not make it to our podcast on Saturday. So thank you for saying
Come on, how could I miss
bye to Mickey Mouse and saying yes to us.
Well, but it's things like Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid.
You know that I actually recorded the Little Mermaid song and the Beauty and the Beast song and the Aladdin song when I was 10 years old. Like I recorded. My mom took me to a studio and I recorded those songs.
Really?
It's hilarious. Yeah, it's somewhere out there. Still am. I have the Peter Pan syndrome.
But you don't like the roller coasters.
I don't. Well, no, not the scary ones. Like Splash Mountain and Space Mountain. That's it. That's my limit.
All right.
But it was super fun to go there. I went with my sisters, and it's very nostalgic for me because my parents used to take us there every other year. That was like our vacation spot because Miami is very close to Guatemala. It's just like a 1 hour and a half flight, and we would fly to Miami and then just rent a car and drive up to Orlando. And anytime like we had good grades, they would take us to Disney.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Disneyland as well here in LA,
Yeah.
Orange County, Anaheim. But we fast forward to LAMC in New York this past summer, and you did a show at Prospect Park, Celebrate Brooklyn, which is an amazing park. If you're ever in New York in the summertime, they have just great concerts out in the park, and it's just a beautiful vibe. Everybody's there with a great energy, and you perform with a bunch of cool people. And I go out there to host LAMC, and I'm in the green room, and now Star Wars is owned by Disney, which is why I kind of bring this up. And I'm all like, I was just chilling, going over my notes, and this guy walks in, and I'm all like, you look so familiar. Who the F are you? And I'm all like, holy shit, it's Poe from Star Wars. So I was all like, but explain how you had him as a guest with you.
Well, okay, for those of you who don't know, Oscar Isaac, the incredible actor. He is half Guatemalan, half Cuban. And back in 2013, I was asked to be a part of the show here at Largo that my good friends, the Milk Carton Kids, were putting together. And they invited him. This was like right after he had done Inside Llewyn Davis. And so I had heard of him because anytime any Guatemalan is doing great outside of Guatemala, you know about it. Any Guatemalan knows about it. So I, of course, I knew of him, but I had never met him. So I met him there, and he was just the nicest guy. And he told me that he had heard about me, which was like, what? And he even said to me, yeah, I've actually been to one of your concerts in New York. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And so we sang together that night. We sang Cucurucucu Paloma and became fast friends. And anytime that I have the opportunity to have him come sing with me, I'll ask him because he's an incredible musician, incredible guitar player and singer. And so anyways, I was doing this show at Prospect Park. He lives in Brooklyn. He was there. So I was like, hey, man, want to come and sing a song? He was like, yeah.
And, okay, so you have Oscar Isaac. You have Jackson Browne.
Yeah.
You have David Garza. I mean, it was just an all-star lineup up on stage with you.
Floreto Loache.
Oh, yeah, can't forget that as well.
It was very special, incredibly special, to have all these amazing artists and good friends come and just celebrate music with me. That was really wonderful.
And Jackson Browne is featured on the new record as well. Yeah, you guys actually do a song together.
Yeah, it's the song called "Across the Borderline" that was written by Ry Cooder.
It's also my favorite drink tonight.
Oh, you have it.
It's a good one.
Who's having an "Across the Borderline"? Yeah, that was very special too. I've met Jackson about 10 years ago here in LA, just through the
cool
musical
kids.
community.
Through the cool kids in LA.
But we always wanted to do something together. So when we were doing this record with Van Dyke and I was recording the song, I remember that he had sung it live. I don't know if he had recorded it, but I just thought it would be great to have him come and sing it with me. And he was so generous and he said yes. So yeah, it's amazing.
So you've collaborated with amazing artists and you've traveled the world. You just came back from India and your Europe tour. What has music given you?
What? Everything. Kidding? Oh my God. Every single experience that I've had has been through music. I don't know where I would be without it. To be honest with you, it's been incredible to get to travel the world and tour and go to all these like places. Like I just did a show in Budapest. It's crazy. Wow. And India, that was wild. I was in Bangalore and I did 3 shows. It was like a little residency, and it was this little jazz club. I'm still in shock when I see people at my concerts and places like that. And I just can't help but feel humbled and so thankful for music, for life, to get to experience all that and share my music with all those people.
I know this is a really hard question, but like, what do you think? And this is, I know I'm tapping into like you being shy and being super humble, but what do you think it is about you and your music and your singing and your writing that people are attracted to all over the world?
Well, in Europe, I guess the appeal is the fact that I sing in Spanish and English. Because I'll do shows in Germany and in Austria and... Oh my God. One time I did a show in Dresden, in Berlin, and we drive into the city and there's all these posters all over the city. This was like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something. And it said, Gaby Moreno, the Queen of Guatemala.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
Anything that sells.
Oh my God. But I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just so happy to see people at the shows, honestly.
Well, you're definitely music royalty back in Guatemala for sure. That's for sure.
No.
Yes.
So we have this tradition here.
Yes.
At room number 7.
We don't want to mess this up. That's why.
No, we don't. But really fast, we're going to ask you a question and then you have to answer really fast without really thinking about it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, that's hard.
So are you ready? Don't overthink it. That's the whole purpose.
Okay. Don't overthink it.
What was the first album you bought?
Enrique y Ana.
Who's that? Sorry. I'm a very sincere person.
Any kids from the 80s here? Enrique y Ana, kids, were a very popular group. Well, okay, maybe not here, obviously not here in the States, but in Guatemala, I'm sure in Latin America, and definitely in Spain. They were from Spain. There were this... it was this guy, Enrique, he must have been like in his early 20s. And then Ana was like an 11-year-old girl. I know, kind of weird, but wait, stay with me. and they recorded these beautiful kids albums. So there was one album that was like Las Tablas de Multiplicar. Mm-hmm. And I learned how to multiply through these records, and it was like amazing songs. Cochino, La Yenga.
Do you remember one of the tablas? Any tablas?
Seis por una seis. Seis.
Keep going. I want to learn. I want to get to 6 times 6.
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding.
6 por 6, 36, como lo veis. It was awesome. You guys, all right. I feel like
performance is done. Thank you.
It's pretty obscure, but hey, check it out.
Okay, so pre-show ritual. Algo que crees que te trae suerte, something that brings you luck before every show that you do.
A ritual that I do is I handwrite the set lists for every single one of my band members, including me.
Oh, wow.
Like half an hour before the show. I don't know. Wow. It's like a meditation or almost, and I just handwrite it. for every show. It never, because I don't know. Sometimes I want to play different songs. I don't always want to play the same set list. So I'll just handwrite it.
Oh,
So
that's a good one.
it could
I like
change
that.
on the fly then. Like
Oh yeah. Oh no, it
Wow.
always every show it changes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Just depending on the mood that you're in.
Yeah. Depending on the venue, depending on the energy, like I'll be like, oh, let's do more of a slower ballad songs, or this show there's gonna be more Latin people, so let's play more Spanish songs, things like that.
Okay, who was your first music crush? And it could be a girl or a guy, and it could be because you liked them physically, or you liked how they sang, or how they alive or dead.
Alive or dead?
Or dead or alive.
Gosh, right now, like I'm just thinking of actors, but not musicians.
I mean, you can throw in an actor.
Could be an
if you want.
actor?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Neil Patrick Harris,
Doogie.
Doogie Howser.
You had no chance, mama. No chance.
No chance. Oh, he was such a huge crush.
And the guy can sing as well.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, he can sing. He's an all-around performer. The guy, so he's not just an actor.
I know, right?
All right.
Oh, but sorry. Now I thought of music. Yeah, Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
I did love the Backstreet Boys.
Who was your favorite?
Brian.
Kevin was mine.
Kevin. He was a bit too old for me back then.
I guess I like older men.
He looked older. Yeah, I don't know. I guess all of them were a bit older for me. I don't know.
Sure. I can't remember their names right now, or else I would tell you my favorite. But
Oh, you're
I
lying.
did like the songs.
He has them tattooed in his back.
Oh my god,
It's Ozomatli's names, not Backstreet
right.
Boys.
that's amazing.
That's another Prospect Park story. We don't need to go into that. If you could time travel to any era, musically, what would it be?
Ooh, I think probably the 1920s, the Roaring 20s. The blues that
Right.
was being made in that decade, and God, everything, the silent movies, and I just love everything about the 20s, the fashion, the music,
That reminds me a little bit about the cover of.
illustrated songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cover of that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you got it, take a look at it when you get the chance. You'll see what we're talking about.
It's like a Vitrola with like
old instruments on there.
Yes.
So you've been to a lot of festivals and you've played in a lot of concerts with other huge names. Any cool backstage anecdote that you can share with us?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Right now, it just came to me.
And you can throw people under the bus. We love that.
I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus. It was just the coolest thing ever.
Almost.
I was part of this show in Dublin, Ireland, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Amnesty International, and there was a lot of Irish artists there. Can you see where I'm going? So
Not
I am
really.
backstage, and like Bono is there.
Oh yeah,
That
that
Irish
Irish
fella.
musician.
No, it was really cool. Angela Kidju, and she's not Irish, but she was part of the show, and Damien Rice and Bob Geldof, and anyways. But I was backstage, and somehow I got to meet him, and I said hello, and he grabbed my hand and he kissed my hand, and I was like, I am never washing this hand.
If anyone's lost, Bono is this singer from a little band called U2. You should check them out.
Yeah, they're all right.
They're on Spotify, I think.
They're no Gaby Moreno though, but
They'll get there at some point.
he's got to work on it. If there's anyone you can have a drink of Jack Daniels with, dead or alive,
They're all alive. Okay,
who would that be?
I don't drink, but I'll have a tea and they'll have a drink.
Yes.
Dead or alive. God, probably be my grandfather. He was an actor. He was a musician, and he died when I was 2 years old. My mother tells me that the day before he died, I sang to him. Like I was singing to him the whole afternoon, and he was so happy. And the following day he passed. I don't know. He seems like a larger than life kind of person, and I really would love to just sit down and talk to him. He was an actor in the first movie ever made in Guatemala about El Sombrerón, which is why I wrote that song, because after I saw him in this movie, and of course knowing about the story of El Sombrerón, which is it's a Guatemalan folk legend tale. That's why I wrote the song. And he just seemed incredibly interesting to me, and yeah, it'd be amazing to meet him.
What was his name?
Armando Moreno.
Pues salud por Armando.
Hey.
Salud, 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 salud. So was that number
El
7?
pelón, that's what they called him. Yeah.
We got one last
he
question.
went bald at like 25.
And this one we need a volunteer. Those
Oh.
of you that know already know. So we need a new volunteer. Somebody that hasn't been here before.
We just need a phone.
Yeah, somebody
Don't
with
worry,
a
it's not
phone.
like
Does
yeah.
somebody have a phone
with
here?
a timer?
And set the timer. Yes, there you go. You have it. Set it for 7 seconds.
Thank you.
7
Pero
seconds. What's happening?
Don't press go yet.
Yeah.
Oh no, another lightning round?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm nervous.
So, what is your biggest hit?
I don't have a hit.
Yeah,
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Okay, which one's your favorite song to perform?
Oh, Blues de Mar.
Okay. You're going to have 7 seconds to sing as much of the verse or the chorus as possible in
Whoa.
7 seconds.
Okay.
3,
Ready?
2, 1, go.
Blues de mar, sal de miel, poca ropa, viento en popa, y yo sin ti, sin tu luz, sin la soga de tus brazos justo aquí.
Hey!
Wow, that's crazy.
That's pretty good. 7 seconds.
7
Got
seconds.
a lot of it in.
I got just before the pre-chorus.
Our very last question was not created by Raul or I. It was actually formulated by our last guest who we had here last month, and that was La Santa Cecilia.
Love.
So we have a new tradition where you'll get a chance to leave a question for our next guest.
Oh.
So the question that La Santa Cecilia left, they didn't know it was going to be you.
Okay.
And they were very creative.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the question is, what is your favorite La Santa Cecilia song?
I love it. Oh my gosh. La Negra.
Oh, good.
That's a good one.
I mean,
That's
they
my
have
favorite.
amazing songs, but
Yeah.
that I remember that was like the first song that I heard,
Say-
of La Santa Cecilia's, and it's a great song, and La Marisol just kills it. She's such an incredible
Amazing.
singer. Yeah.
So what question would you like to leave for our next guest?
Yes, that's the big question.
Ooh. If you were alone in space, what would be the one record that you could like take with you to outer space?
Perfect.
Yeah, because that gives it a different twist.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Gaby Moreno, everybody. Make some noise.
Give it up to
Applausos.
Gaby.
Yay!
So now we're opening up the floor for a Q&A. Does anybody have a question for Gaby?
I'm probably the last person to find this out, but you composed the theme song to Parks and Rec. How did that happen?
Another very lucky strike, because I had never done any composing for TV before that, and I haven't done anything after that. So it was like that one thing. How did it happen? I got an email from a manager back then saying, hey, they're looking for a theme song, 30 seconds, instrumental. Here's what, they sent me like sort of like the little trailer of the intro. And they explained like it was like that it should be very bubbly and uplifting and blah, blah, blah. And the minute I read 30 seconds instrumental, I was like, what the hell? I'll just give it a grab my guitar, sat down. I was like, of course I'm not going to get this. Like, duh, but I'll just, whatever. I don't care. I'll just, and I remember like, the first thing that came to me was like, I was like, oh, okay, all right, here's. But then I thought, no, they're not gonna like it if it's like just acoustic guitar and me singing. So I called a friend of mine, Vincent Jones, and I went over to his studio, and he's an incredible composer as well, and he has a keyboard, and I was like, here's the song, here's the melody. Can you like help me like put all the instruments, the orchestral elements? And so we did the demo there with him. He helped me finish it, and we sent it off. And so I swear to God, I was like, there is no way in hell they're going to pick. No, seriously, because they had told us that 200 other composers had sent in theme songs. So I was like, forget about it. I completely forgot about it. One day I was at Amoeba. I was just there. I just remember it so well, that moment. And I get a phone call telling me that they had chosen my theme song. And I was like, I went crazy. I started screaming. I was like, what is this? Is this real life? Yeah, it was really crazy. Really, really, really. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Another question.
If you had to go up into a spaceship and you could only take one record, what record would it be?
I love it. Okay. I would bring David Bowie's Aladdin Sane. Just because I adore that record. And it just seems like a good idea to be listening to Bowie up in space.
By the way, Gaby did tour with a David Bowie tribute.
With the band, the actual musicians that played and recorded with him. So that was a huge honor. Yeah, it's amazing.
So I have two questions. One, I went to Guatemala for the first time 2 years ago, okay? I got a chance to go to Antigua, Guatemala, fell in love. But if I were to go back again, which I plan to, where would you recommend a place that I should visit?
Lake Atitlan. You have to. I mean, that is my happy place. Every time I go to Guatemala, well, not every time because it's kind of far away from the city. It's like a 3-hour drive. Definitely go to Lake Atitlan, and if you can, go to a hotel called La Casa del Mundo. Really, it's considered like one of the most beautiful lakes in the world. It's surrounded by 3 volcanoes, and
yeah, you guys have a lot of volcanoes.
Yeah, we do. But that place is truly magical. And this hotel that I'm telling you, it's almost like a little bed and breakfast, and it's built like in the mountain, and you can only get there by boat. And they have a hot tub outside, and you can like overlook the lake and the volcanoes, and if there's a full moon, oh my God.
Second question is, what's your favorite Tracy Chapman song?
Ooh, I love Give Me One Reason. And for I know it was her big hit, but it's such a great song, and it was very special to me because I actually was playing it a lot when I was a teenager. Like that was one of the songs that really got me like into playing guitar and singing, and it was kind of like a full circle moment when I got to tour with her, and yeah.
What's your favorite club to play in LA?
Favorite club to play in LA?
Yeah, like of the smaller venues.
I'm gonna have to say Largo. It's just so incredible. It's a very special place to me. I've made a lot of friends through that club that have, artists that have played at that club, and it's a really beautiful community of musicians. And I don't know. I just remember the first time that I went there when it was on Fairfax, because now it's on La Cienega and it's a little theater. But before it used to be a little club, and I would see Fiona Apple and John Bryan there, and I just felt like I got transported like to another dimension, to another era. It still feels that way when I go see shows there and when I play there. So it's got to be Largo.
Hi. So what's next for Gaby Moreno?
Can I say? I don't know if I can say, but Gil, can I?
It stays here. There's a manager right there. Tú dile que puede decir y que no puede decir. Tú dile, Gil.
All right, I'll tell you 2 things that I'm doing. I've been producing. I produced 3 songs for Ricardo Arjona for his upcoming album. Ew. So, I don't know if I was supposed to mention that, but yeah, I won't tell you the names of the songs, but you'll know that was really incredible that he just called me. He's like, hey, can you produce one of my songs? And I was like, what? I've been getting more into that. I feel like there needs to be more women producers and engineers and all that. So, and honestly, I really feel like there's so many amazing artists out there that could easily produce, and I don't understand why they, and myself included, why we automatically go and think of a guy when it comes time to find a producer. I'm just putting that out there. If you're an artist and if you want a producer, think of a woman. Really, because they really are incredible artists out there that could do a great job. So, give us a chance. Give us an opportunity. That's all I'm saying. And then the other thing that I'm doing that is actually it's a huge deal for me, and it's gonna take up pretty much my whole time for the next 2 years, is a musical.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Spanish, English?
English, but yeah, a big one. So yeah, that's all I can say.
It's huge.
If you could give 18-year-old starting out Gaby Moreno some advice, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to hang on tight, because it's gonna be a crazy ride. To never give up, ever, even when you turn 40, keep going. And to just enjoy the ride, really. That's I've learned that through all these years, that it's really just about that, about enjoying every moment, every experience that you've had, no matter what you're doing. So I've been very lucky in the sense that I've always, even when I, didn't consider myself like successful, whatever, and I was doing other things, I was a wedding singer for 3 years, but I was singing. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, whatever it is, just make sure that you're always doing what you love, and hang on tight.
Can I piggyback on that?
Of course.
Do you consider yourself to be successful now?
I do, because I really feel, and this might sound cliche, but I really believe it. Like, you're successful when you're doing what you love. So yes, I mean, I'm really living the American dream. I mean, the fact that I'm me, like a little Guatemalan girl, came here to the United States, and the fact that I can tour and I can do shows in Europe and in the US and Australia. I don't care if it's for 100 people or in festivals where there's more people, but that to me is like, it's incredibly successful. So I'm so blessed and thankful for the music.
Yes, aplausos por favor.
Okay, so first off, One Reason's my go-to karaoke song. I love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that. Kind of similar to the other questions that was answered, but if you could host a dinner party with 5 actors or musicians based on energy or talent, who would they be?
5 actors and or musicians that are alive. All right, here we go. David Bowie. Sorry, I'm a huge Bowie fan. John Lennon. Nina Simone. Oh, God, this is getting hard. Ella Fitzgerald. I need an actor. What? What did you say?
Somebody said Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. Walt Disney.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Walt. Good old Walt.
That's a good one.
Of course. He's not an actor, but yeah, Walt Disney.
All right, I think we got time for one more, but we're going to kind of flip it.
Yep.
We're going to turn the tables on her manager, because I know you had mentioned that. All right, Gil has... Well,
by the way, Gil,
talking
we've been planning this all evening. We're like, we will attack Gil.
You say names like Carla Morrison, the Marias, La Santa Cecilia when they first kind of came out, and of course Gaby Moreno and so many other
David
great people.
Garza.
Yes. You got to ask a question of her.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you gotta ask me a question?
Oh boy.
You can cry. It's okay. You're in a safe space.
You know what? I do have a question,
Okay.
because it's something that I talk to my staff whenever we talk about Gaby. This comes up. It's Gaby's drive. I've never seen anybody in all the years I've been in this business and just in general, somebody that works so hard and has that drive. Gaby, you travel like crazy. You keep yourself busy. What is is it just the art? Is it just the music that keeps you wanting to be so busy? Because I've never worked with anybody that just continues to try to just be the best that you can be, like you. I mean, I don't know if that's like exactly what I want to ask as far as.
It's hard, man.
I talk to Gaby every day, and just I love her so much. She's just an amazing person, but her drive, it just blows me away. And I just sometimes I just I tell you, it's like you got to slow down. I mean, what keeps you going?
Dude, I'm gonna turn 40 soon. I'm kidding. No, running out of time. Yeah, of course it's the music, and I hate flying. You know that. Hate it. I could easily be a flight attendant. Like, that's how much I fly. I'm almost never home. Here, LA is home for me, by the way. I haven't been able to have a dog in almost 5 years, and I'm obsessed with dogs. And the last dog I had, she was my baby, and she passed away 4 or 5 years ago. So I haven't. Yeah, it comes with a lot of sacrifices, is what I'm saying. But I guess that's just how much I love this. If I didn't, I would have quit a long time ago. Man, I've had some really low lows. I mean, nothing crazy, but just moments where you go like, is this really for me? Like, should I keep going? Or should I? But there's always people behind me, people like you, Gil, that are, that also keeps me going. You know what I mean? No, seriously, I don't know where I would be like with people like Gil, with his team, with those people that are there encouraging you and telling you like, no, like you got to keep going. Like, and yes, you also like tell me to slow down, and a lot of times I don't listen, but I don't know, man. It's just, it really is the music, it's a big passion of mine. It's what I breathe in and out every day. So I don't see myself doing anything else. I really don't. I would be a failure at anything else. That's, I guess, the short answer.
All right, but Gaby Moreno, thank you for being part of Pili, Raul La Musica. Thank you, Jack Daniels, for opening up the doors of this amazing and magical space. Thank you guys for being part of this. We really appreciate your energy. And Gaby, thank you for being so passionate about what you do and sharing it with the world. I think a lot of people are born with gifts, but some people just keep them to themselves, and you've been able to share it with the world, and we appreciate that.
Thanks, Pili.
So once again, give it up for Gaby Moreno, everybody, right here at Pili, Raul, and La Musica en Vivo desde room number 7. Gracias for checking out our podcast.
Hey, and special thanks to Ulises El Licenciado Lozano for our amazing theme song.
Our mix and recording engineer, Mario Diaz.
Our artistic director, Dak.
And can't forget about our sponsors, Pili.
No, Raul, United Airlines, Shure Microphones, and Jack Daniels, gracias for supporting La Música Latina.
And for more information and other episodes, be sure to subscribe to our podcast at Pili, Raul, and La Música.
Hey, make sure to tell your tía, abuelo, primas, everybody to subscribe.
A todos.